Alrighty. Yes, it is a new year. At least here in Korea, it's a new year. Yeah, it is 2026 here in Korea. And so far, everything's okay. So if you're in the United States, you're wondering what the future is going to bring. So far, it's all right. Okay. With that, we're doing some good stuff there today. You see this here? This is the thing that I made and I printed, and that is the TVL60P. This is the paintbrush, the acrylic paintbrush holder that I made, and it turned out really nice. Hey, we've got Ferretus here. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, sir. We also have MD back, hand pink waving, hand pink waving. Yeah. Happy New Year to you. I hope everybody has a good one. Yeah, we're going to continue printing and painting probably throughout 2026. What are the odds? I'm going to try to get into some cosplay armor. So hopefully Galactic Armory and their form-fitting software will come out. So that's where you can scale armor. It's supposed to be really good. Hopefully it'll come out. We'll see. That's kind of dependent on whether I do my cosplay armor or not. But yeah, this turned out pretty good. It came out pretty good. We did have some problems here with the connection of both of those, and so we had to do a little bit of finagling with some UV resin, but this is the test piece. And so currently what I'm doing, if we take a look at the K2 Plus cam, boom, here we are. We're doing a test fit and where we split the model with the planar cut inside Creality Print, and we added snap connectors. And I changed some of the settings. So the tolerance is like 0.2 on a couple of the settings there, and it is printing out the little test piece that you can see there. And we only got about 3 minutes left. So yeah, this should be pretty good. This should be pretty good. The other one I did dowels, and it was like, I don't know if the dowel thing came up. It will be interesting to see if the K2 Plus, I need to go back and see if, did I do that with the, assembly instructions, blah, 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 printing advice, snap clips. Yes, the new version that I have, I just had to double check. I was like, did I put snap clips on there or not? So on Creality Cloud, what we ended up doing is putting this model on there. So if you order the Just Art, pen holder thing that I ended up making, that came out pretty good. So we like that. And as you can see from some of the pictures here, I mean, the problem, we have pens everywhere. We don't know what to do. And so, yeah, we made the thing, and now the pens are all happily in place, resting horizontally as to not dry out any tips because of that. And we used a little bit of a kind of a design tweak, and if I can make this bigger, by kind of making the holes a little teardroppy. And so that, in and of itself, allows us to print this out with 0 bupkis supports. And this can be printed on a small printer with a 256 build area. It can also be printed on the K2 Plus. Of course, I still had to cut it down because the height is 396 millimeters. K2 Plus is 350 cubes, so we got that. But it turned out really good. So I think once we do this test, I did one set of the snap connectors and it ended up working. So spoiler alert, there's that. But I wanted to print this out again to show you how this worked out. We got about a minute left. It's odd. It says it's got 88% done, but then it says it has a minute left. So Creality Print has their new firmware upgrade, And 7, Creality Print 7, they just went a huge jump from 6 point something all the way to 7. So that was kind of strange. But we'll see how that goes. Let's see. MD says that came out awesome. Yeah, it did. I think it really did. It serves a purpose. It's functional. It will store my acrylic pens in a horizontal and vertical fashion, save some real estate on the desk over there. And if you look on the desk, I don't have a lot of real estate left. So I need to go up and not out, or I need to get another desk. So I'm kind of looking into that too. Ferrith says, still 6 hours to go here. I'm totally going to be in bed by 9 p.m. Yeah, we stayed up until about 11 last night, 11:30, something like that. Ferrith says, dowels and epoxy are my best friends. Yeah. I do the super glue thing, but I've been recently looking at some stuff in regards to epoxy. I'm probably going to get some of that. But I did order some CA glue with activator. So that'll come in on like the 20th of January. I know, it's like crazy. It's like, okay. Ooh, look at that. Our model is done. So we can check this out. This is good. This is good. Good idea on the raindrops. No supports are the best supports. Absolutely. So let me go pick this thing up from the printer. We'll bring it in here and we'll see how well the snap connectors work. And I think, well, I know that they work. I already spoiled it, but I want to show you how they work because maybe some of you don't know how that goes. So let's go ahead and get it. And I love the wireless mic. So it came out to 10 grams, 26 minutes. And yeah, pop that right off of there. Love the K2 Plus, at least at the moment. And here we are. So we did a little bit. Here is the holes that we end up having. And so those came out good. Kind of, everything's backwards. So those came out good. And then we have our snapped connectors, which are really small. But they ended up coming out okay. And so now, what we're going to end up doing is we will put these together, and these should just snap together. Perfect, perfect. Wow, that is really good. Wow, interesting. I like that. That came out great. And you can see how well, I mean, if you threw in some super glue or, like Ferrith says, some epoxy or something, you would be good to go on that. Of course, you got a little bit of a tiny line in there that you can see, but, put some weight on it, boom, you'll be good to go. I am pleased. I am pleased. So, with that, that came out pretty good. And so the next thing I want to do is take a look and kind of show you on Creality Print on how that works. And Ferrith says, you don't really need activator on CA glue. Super glue activates with water, just one drop, one part wet, the other with super glue, and they stick instantly. What? What sorcery is this? What? Super glue activates with water. No. Seriously? But do I have super glue? I have Gorilla super glue. So would that work? Ferrith does say that there is a very satisfying click when we did our snap connectors, and I have to agree with him. Now the question is, if you pull this out, can you pull this out? With the prior test piece, it snapped together and tried to pull it out. When I did pull them apart, the snap connectors broke. So be wary of that. Set it and forget it is what is going to be your thing. So Ferrithus says, chemically, superglue activates with water. I even use spit sometimes. Spit on that thing. We're going to take a look, because I don't believe you. It's not that I don't believe you, but it's, how can I say this? Back in the Army. I joined the Army when I was 17, and one of the lessons, the life lessons I learned was trust, but verify. So we're going to verify, and I just happen to have some water here, because we're going to do our painting. We got a couple of PLA parts here, Polymaker PLA, and we have our Gorilla Glue. So what we're going to end up doing is we will spit on that thing. Spit on that thing. Okay, let's find a good, you would do that. We'll kind of glue it like that. And what we'll do, I'll put the super glue. We'll just put a decent amount on there. We'll just kind of spread around. We're not going to go crazy. You know, we're just going to go with that right there. If you use, so Ferrithus says, if you spill super glue on your fingers and just hold them under water, the glue hardens before you glue your fingers together. It just happened to be last week. Huh. I don't know. That sounds crazy. And then what we'll do is we'll get a little bit of water here, and we'll just kind of, we'll just get enough on there, and we'll see if Ferrithus is right. Trust but verify. Now, how long do I got to hold this on there? Like 10 seconds? Is that the thing, or is it like immediately? So we'll hold that on there. I'll recap our water. Set that aside, because we'll need that at a future date. So we're holding it together. And it's been about, what, 30 seconds? Almost 30 seconds. Let me take a little swig. For those of you watching, as we're doing this science project from Professor Ferrithus, super glue in a drop of water. We're trusting, but we're verifying to see if that's actually true. It's not immediate. Okay. That wasn't immediate. Maybe came off. Maybe this is Gorilla Glue. It's not super glue. Okay. So that's probably why that's not working. Do I have super glue? That's the question. I was getting all worried about that. I was like, wait a second. But we need super glue. Super glue. And do I have a little vial somewhere? I don't see one. But I do know where there might be some. Okay, so we proved that Gorilla Glue and water don't instantly adhere or adhere to each other after 30 seconds or so. But that's not what we're trying to prove. Ferrithus said, no, it has to be super glue, not Gorilla Glue. Okay. Let me go and I'll check and see if I have, maybe I have some here. No. I might have some. So hold on and that way you can view the table there. And I'll be right back. Let's see if we can find some super glue. I thought I saw one vial somewhere. I got benches, I got bracket. Oh, super glue. I found super glue. And we're back. We found the super glue. We found it. We have actual super glue. And hopefully it's not dried. We'll figure this out. And we'll do a control group. So I'm digging through the trash, trying to find another piece of, here's another piece. Good thing I didn't empty the trash yesterday like the wife wanted me to. Okay, so, here it is. Ferrithus says, CA glues hardens via chemical reaction. To get it going, you need to break a few chemical bonds, which happens when it comes in contact with water. Super glue is cyanoacrylic late chemically. Okay. So let's get another piece, because we do have this piece here. And we'll do this piece here, and we'll do that with regular super glue. And then we'll do this piece and this piece with the super glue and the water. So let's see. Can we get this going? And is the nozzle clogged? That is the question. And I think it is. Dang it. We're gonna make a mess. Let's see if I can. No, I don't want that. I want. Interesting. What do I need? Let me try this. That is like super glued on there. Okay, that is not going to work. I think what we can do is we will all in the name of science. Okay. Ferrithus also says it will harden in air as well because of humidity, but in winter humidity is low and it'll take a while, so just getting the surface a bit damp accelerates this a lot. Okay, we're going to do a little cut here into the tube. Nope, that's hardened. Man, I don't know. Okay, we did that. Now, will any super glue come out? Oh, it's all done. It's like all hard. Damn it, Jim. The joys of live streaming. Let me check. Do I have any super glue here? No. There's one other place I can check. So hold on. Maybe we'll get this done. Let's go down here into the pantry. Blah, blah, blah. We've got batteries, we got double A's, we got triple. displays. We got parts for something. Some Colgate travel. We got thumbtacks. We have potato chip bag clips. Is, will this super glue work? I think it will. I think it's a new one. It is unscathed. Brand new, I think. Let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Brand spanking new. So, I'll just kind of boom. Well, so we get the little hole in there. Dun 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 dun. dun. Ferrith says, live demonstration, they never fail. Oh no, never, ever. Okay, so we've got our super glue. And we're going to put, this will be our control group. And we'll just do like a line like that. And I'll screw that back on there. I'll put it in the upright position. And we will hold this on here. Again, we have a clean surface. And we'll put that on there. And I don't know, just hold it for 30 seconds. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah, 30 seconds. We will do 30 seconds and see what happens. So, it's 47. Maybe this will give you time, for those of you who are watching, to click the like button, because this is a control group. Gotta enjoy the latte as we're doing this. Today I did something a little bit different. Today we have a dark roast, and I did a little bit of vanilla, but I also did some chocolate sauce. So we got kind of like a chocolatey espresso going on today, latte. Turned out really good. I figured new year, we'll do something a little bit different. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do that. I think that's enough time. And now we get to the fun parts. We have our two pieces, and I'm going to use the side that we didn't put glue on, because I don't want to get anything, have any residue on there. Well, I'll just do it on that side right there. Well, maybe I'll do it on the long side. So that way it's similar to that part there. Or do I have another piece of that? Digging through the trash again. We do have another piece. So that'll work. So we'll have those variables, because it's again, it's another piece like this. So, and it's good to go. So we'll leave that aside. Our special, Ferrithus special, Professor Ferrithus. We're going to put our super glue on here like we did on the other one. And then fear not, because after this, what we're going to end up doing is we will end up painting our miniature after we do this little science experiment. And we're going to store this in the upright position. So there is our super glue that we got that there. We're going to take our water. We're just going to dip our finger into this, and we'll just wet that up. kind of like that. So we got some little bit of stuff on there, and we will put this on there. And now we'll hold this, and we'll see how this goes. So for about the same amount of time, we'll rock this out, and we'll see. Science experiment of the ages, the first experiment of 2026, coming to you live from the Republic of Korea. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Water and CA glue. Interesting. We'll see how this goes. And take another swig. If you haven't hit the like button, smash it. Let's see. Ferrithus says, if you just want to see it, just put super glue on a black part and hold it underwater. It'll cure, turn white almost immediately. Wow. We have some water. So I think we're good there. Okay, so we have that. Let's go back to our test piece with just the super glue. And we can see that's pretty good. Wow. That held pretty good. That's pretty good. So now let's see this part, and we'll see that held too. Wow. Can do the same thing with this one. Yep. So now let's see how fast that works. And we'll do a side piece on this. I'll put a little super glue. Oh, you can actually see the white residue on there. See that? Who knew? So we'll put a little more super glue on here. I'll put a little bit more. So in other words, what Ferrithus is telling me is that I wasted money on buying CA glue with activator. It's probably just a bottle of water. So we got a bunch on there this time. And I'm not going to spread it around with my finger. Because when I was little, I did that and things went wrong. Since he was talking about spit, we'll put that to the test as well. And we'll hold this on there. We'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll see what happens. It glued. Look at that. It glued. So regular CA glue, can we do that for 12 seconds without water? So let's do the same thing and see what is a little better. So we'll do the same thing. Again, we'll do that. Store that in the upright position. We'll hold this on there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So it definitely works a lot better with water and or spit. Ferrithus is the dude. He's the man. That works out so good. I like that. Good, good, good. Yep. Didn't hold it on there long enough. Oh, I I got some ridge, I got a little bit of a valley in there. That's why it's not doing it. Ah, okay, that's why. We'll do one last one. We'll do it down this side. This will be the last of the tests, and then after this we'll go and we will do our painting of our FDM miniatures here. So we'll just kind of hold that on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Awesome, awesome stuff. Okay. Tell the wife that I don't need to buy activator anymore. Okay, that's good. That works out. Thank you. Alrighty, so now that we proved that, yeah, it says Ferrith's activator is even more efficient in breaking these bonds, making it even cure even faster. It's just not needed. Because I think, yeah, unless you need that immediate grasp and gluing, I think I can hold on for 12 seconds. Okay, yeah, also awesome, so awesome. That'll make life easier. With that, let's go ahead and we'll head over to the paint station here. And do we need any of this stuff? I don't think so. And we will get into painting our miniatures again. So let's go ahead and we'll put on our tablet over here so we can read at least some things. I wonder, okay, that's better. So that's a little better. I put my tablet in the other way so I can at least read it a little bit. Okay, while you were away, we did a few things. One of the things that we ended up doing is we tested out those acrylic paint markers, and if we can see that there, that's how they came out. Yeah, they're not the end-all be-all of painting, but I think they're another tool in the toolbox. I like the coverage. The only thing that I didn't like was the red, and that's because the red doesn't really come out as a dark, rich red like you can get with paints. For example, we take a look at, you know, some scarlet. This is definitely red. This is like Hello Kitty pink. So I was really disappointed with the red. And with those acrylic paint markers, it ends up that, unfortunately, there's a bunch of shades, but there's no shades for red. So like for green, there's like 4 or 5 different shades from dark to light. You've got a big spread. And unfortunately, the red, you have the red and it's not even red, and you don't have different shades of red. It's just that Hello Kitty pinkish red type thing. And it didn't turn out real. I didn't like that. I really didn't like the red. And I didn't like the fact that the naming convention on the pens, there's no color names. So like, if you look at Army Painter, you know, we have Desolate Brown, we have, you know, Damon Yellow, and all kinds of names for the paints. But on those Just Art acrylic paint pens, there's no, yeah, there's nothing. There's no, it's odd. It really is odd. And just to prove that I'm not lying to you, we have our wonderful pens there. But let's take out the most horrible color. Yeah. So look at this. So we have all these colors of green. All these colors of green. Then we get red. Then we get that. And that's pretty much. But green, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got about 7 Purple, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 different colors, 8 maybe. Blues, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got a wide range of these colors, and even the brown, 1, 2, 3, kind of an orangish. You know, you got some, at least 4, 5, 6 different types of color ranges, but with red you just get like 3, but then the red isn't really red. And then the other thing we end up seeing on this is if you look on there, there's just a number. And it doesn't correspond with anything like a paint guide of saying this is red or this is whatever. You just get that. And on the pen itself, it just says brush and fine tip. So that's kind of lacking. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. If you were, what would those paint pens be good for? They might be good for, hold on a second, I'm trying to put on this thing here. Those paint pens might be good for if you're traveling and you want to take some miniatures with you and you're not really concerned, but you just want to paint in some way, shape, or form, you could do that. Here's another one where we ended up taking some of the paint pen, and we did the brown, and then we did the skeleton that came out, and this was printed on our Creality K2 Plus. We can see that came out pretty nice as far as terrain. So the coverage is pretty good. Not bad, not bad. And for 60 of those pens, it came out to, what was it, $27 is what it came out to. So we could even, but the brown isn't like the darkest brown. I wish it looks darker, but if we do a lighter brown, you can definitely see that this is a light brown, but the dark brown isn't really dark brown. So you can kind of see that there. So the colors are a little bit off. With this one, it looks pretty good. But with the brown, it's not really super dark. So I think they need to dial that in to get their colors. And the reds, they need to have like different colors of red. You know, you can have at least 4 versions of red, a real dark, rich red, then a lighter, and then the lightest. And I think if they did that with those pens, that would be really good. But neither here nor there. Because now we're going to get back to painting these guys. We have this guy and we have this guy here, which are the resin printed miniatures. Not the resin printed, but the FDM printed miniatures on the K2 Plus. And we're seeing that they turned out pretty decent so far. Some of the details are muddled, but it's doing pretty good, honestly. I'm kind of surprised. But the question is, you know, will they be tabletop ready? These are resin printed miniatures, and we can see he's got him and his little brother. This is resin. This is FDM printed. This is printed at 0.08. We didn't slow anything down. We just kind of put it there, and so that's kind of like our test model. I imagine we could probably get even better details if we slowed down the print speed on this. I'm thinking maybe put this on stable so it's 50% speed, and then that way you probably get a little bit more detail. Maybe we'll try that in another video. We'll print these things up and see, you know, how these work. My thinking is using the 0.4 millimeter nozzle at 0.08, we could slow down the speed and we could take a look at those and see how they turned out. And then in a future video, we also have a 0.2 nozzle. So there we can get some other, you know, see what happens, you know. And I know there's people out there that will end up, you know, printing miniatures like on Bamboo Labs A1 or A1 Mini or whatever, and they tweak a ton of different settings. I've been finding out people do that, and the prints ended up being 12, 13, 16, 17 hours long for one miniature. And it's like, they have like resin supports, they put it into Blender, they have a little plug-in that it changes the resin supports to FDM supports, and it's like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I want to get that deep into it. I think what I want to do is just, like, as a new user, can you put in a miniature and can your printer print it with minimal setting adjustments? And I think we proved that with this here. But the next one I think I'll do is I'll crank out these two same guys at 0.08, and then I'll slow it down to 50% speed instead of 100. And we'll see if there's any difference there. Okay, enough yapping. Enough yapping, too much yapping. We are going to get painting and try to finish these guys up on this new year that we have. Has anybody, let's see, let's catch up. This is blah, 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 blah. Color armor looks really nice. All right, Steve, we're going to take a walk in the park. All right, good one. Have a good one. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Ferrithus. We're going to continue on. And it's early morning. What time is it here? It's 7 in the morning. So I think we'll just continue with this. And we're going to go back to, because we're going to do some skeleton robes, mummy robes, thanks to Army Painter, which are expensive paints. If you look up Army Painter and these little bottles and the mega set or whatever it is, I did the math, and well, Amazon did the math. And you can see that it's like $6.30 or 47, maybe even 70 cents per ounce. Army Painter's making a bunch of money off of people. It's like, but then if you compare it to like the Art Deco paint, this paint here, you get 60 milliliters. And if you look at the price, I can't remember what it came out per ounce, but it was way better, way better. So, and these paints are really good, by the way. I'm really surprised. They're not chunky. Some budget paints, I guess you could call it, real granular, real gritty. The paint pigmentation isn't that good. And that paintball in there is just not. I haven't used these in a long time, obviously. Let's see what we got. Because I think we used, these are mummy robes. I think we did mummy robes and then we did a wash over them, if I'm not mistaken. Or skeleton bone. No, it wasn't skeleton bone. And it wasn't mummy robes either. What did I use? Desert yellow? No. Seriously. I can't remember what I used on those. And I know it wasn't speed paints. I know it wasn't that. So I guess. I don't want to use a skeleton bone. Maybe I did do a wash. I forgot how I did that. We'll just go with this one, I guess. Mummy robes. We'll try that, and then we'll throw a wash on there and see if that'll suffice. We can get a little bit going on here. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. Oh no, I dropped it. But not a drop was spilt. Good. For those of you that are the dedicated Citadel paint people, or if you're just getting into painting and you have Citadel paints with the Citadel paint pots that look like this, if you tip this over, you will lose almost all your paint. So that's what I ended up doing, is transferring all my paint into dropper bottles. And yeah, you can thank me later. We're gonna need a little bit of water, maybe, just a little drop. I'll mix that together. So I can thin that out a little bit. Army painter paints do need thinned out. Otherwise they look real, they're real thick, chunky paint. And so let's go ahead and we will paint and see what we can get going on here. I really wanted to do these with the speed paint, but I did say that I was going to paint these like I did the other ones. So yeah, that's just kind of sticking true to my word. But I think that comes out really white, doesn't it? I think we're gonna have to do some wash on that. But I think with the speed paints, it would look really, really good. Especially with the zenithal and all of that going on, I think it would be really good. You know what we could do? We'll just paint this guy with this paint. And then we could do speed paints on the other one and see how that turns out. I'm trying to see, okay, need a little reference dude here. So we'll do this guy with this, and then we'll put a wash on him. And then on the other guy, we'll do the speed paints. How's that? So we can kind of get the best of both worlds. So we'll see how that turns out. So what's everybody looking into for the next year, for 2026? 2026 is already here for me because I'm in Korea. So that is working out for me. I'm thinking about getting another 3D printer, and I'm kind of leaning towards the Prusa Core 1L. That is really white. Do we have any other? No, I think that's it. Well, no, we got some on the back. Got that little strap, which is seriously small. That's the other part that I don't like about miniatures, is that they're so hard to paint because they're so small. Okay, we got that guy. And now we get this guy. Oh, not that guy, this guy, Big Hammer Man. It's hammer time. And we got that guy there, which is, this is him. And this turns out, I'm going to try to get a better camera too this year. So that way it's got a better autofocus, because this just needs help. But the resin one came out really good. So for this, I think we're going to end up doing, like I said, we can bony matter. No, maybe we could go with brownish decay. There's that. I think that's the closest we're going to get there. Speed paint medium. Yeah, let's try this. So we'll do the bandages with this bony decay using these speed paints, and we'll see how this turns out. I'm just really, I can't remember for the life of me what I used on these resin printed ones for the colors. Maybe it was the skeleton. Hey, we got George pops in and says hi. Maybe it was the skeleton bone. Okay, now with this, we'll just do a quick little, put a little dab on the paintbrush. Ooh. Just put a little dab on the brush. In speed paints, you need to have a good zenithal on your models. So I'm going to have a little bit on there. Ooh, that comes out really dark-ish. That's going to be like almost too dark. Just pat that out a little bit. Just get some of that. That's the bony decay. Kind of like got some green in there. You can see that. But that's not bad either. That is not bad either. So that's not, that's actually pretty decent, actually. That is not bad. Need a little tiny little dip. I think if somebody's first starting out and you don't want to get knee deep into painting a ton, but you want to be able to get some good looking minis, I think the speed paints would be the way to go. Just as long as you prime it in black and then do your zenithal, I think it turns out really good. Actually, that did turn out really good. You can see that. Nice. Again, I'm not sure what color we used. Maybe it was the skeleton bone. You know, we could always try that. Speed paints for the win. Maybe it was the skeleton bone that we did. Maybe we'll go back and we'll repaint. George says, Happy New Year. New Year almost. New assault. My cousin made the unfortunate mistake of saying that Twilight was better than Lord of the Rings. Wow, that Twilight was better than Lord of the Rings? Oh my gosh. That's scary. That is like, you know, but with that, I mean, a couple of the Lord of the Rings, what was The Hobbit, and then, you know, some of them went kind of like, it was like too cheesy, too comedy, you know, like the dwarves and the river going down the barrels, you know, and all that stuff when Bilbo put them into the barrels that they were, you know, they were captured by the elves and that's how they escaped. Yeah, that was a little bit too cheesy. You know, the cheesy singing and all that stuff, I didn't appreciate that. I thought a darker, less lighthearted would have been better, personally. But Twilight, it's like a dumb tweeny movie. You know, the female character, she was just kind of like always had her mouth open. You know, it was just, thank God it wasn't during the broccoli head revolution, otherwise that would have been horrible. I never got that. The kids wearing the broccoli, make their head look like a thing of broccoli. Like, seriously? Really? You think that looks good? I don't know. Yeah, not a big Twilight fan at all. No way. Okay, we're going to try the skeleton bone. Maybe that's what these, because that white on there is just way too white. And even if we did a wash, it's not going to get the same color that we had. So let's get to it. I'll just put a little dot there. Mix that in together. Kind of thin that out a little bit. I think we will be good to go. Yeah, I think that'll be better. At least it'll have a little bit of color on there. Still not as dark as what we did on the resin prints, and I can't remember what I did with those or what I painted them. But this is close. It's better than the white, that's for sure. So there's that. So it's a little bit better. We might end up doing some, but then there's also the lack of detail too, because we're not getting, you know, with the resin printing one, you can see the bands, the wraps that are on his wrists and arms, forearms and things like that. We can definitely see that, but on this, we don't really get that. So, there's that. But I think we'll definitely have to put a wash on here, but it is a little bit better. I don't know if y'all can see that. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I should probably be using a smaller brush, but we're not going crazy with this. We're just going to see if we can paint this and how well it looks, and will it be tabletop ready? You know, would you put this on a tabletop and play a game with it? So we got some underneath that we need to do. And we can do that little thing on the back. Little band. Kind of like what we did on the other one. Oops. It's going to be good enough for government work. So how's that look? Does that turn out okay? It's a lot better, I think. So good. So we'll let that go. We got to do some hair on this guy, so we could do some black. And I think what I ended up doing is using the matte black from Army Painter. And then, as we see on this guy, on his hair, I just kind of put in the black, and then I kind of just rub my finger over it to get the raised edges. I didn't dry brush on it, so we could see the hair. And I think that turned out good. George says, no violence occurred, but no stake for them. The books, My Kingdom to have Blade appear in those movies. Yeah, I never got the Twilight thing. I mean, I'm all for Blade. You know, I'm definitely can do that. But the Twilight, yeah, it just yuck. yuck. Okay, so we'll add a little bit of black, a little water to that. I'll thin that out, and we'll see if we can do his hair. It's going to be his beard too, so, but there's not a lot of detail. So, don't want to get too much on there. And we did water it down just a bit. That's paint, that brush is really loaded up. We can see a little bit. Yeah. This is going to be interesting. Not too bad. Okay, that's not too bad. I mean, it doesn't have the details like we had on the resin printed one, but we still got some details in there. Just kind of see if we can spread some of that around a little bit. But yeah, not bad, not bad. See if we can do just a little bit more. But that's recognizable. That worked. Okay. We need to go back and we need to do a little bit of brown on this to finish up the hammer on him. And then what we'll end up doing is we'll do some stuff on the base and we'll see how that pops out. We can do some kind of similar, maybe something to this resin printed guy. But with this on part of that, we did, what was it? I think we did some ground texture, so maybe we'll do something like that on these, because we have like ground texture, we have like a Middle Earth, but I want something a little bit greener, kind of like this one, Dark Earth. I think that'd be good. Okay, so let's do a little bit of brown, brown. And we'll go with the dark oak on the top part there. The hammer, which is, that we can see on this guy. We're going to do that. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to watch all 3 extended editions in the theater this month. That's cool. We're trying to get that here in Korea. On the local military base, there's a petition that I ended up signing to where they get the extended and play it in the theater on post. So we're going to see if we can't get that, get some traction on that, because that'd be kind of cool. But I do have to admit that Korean theaters, they are the bomb. They are awesome. They got their, they have theaters that have recliners in them. They have theaters that have beds with comforters. You can order entire meals and eat the meal as you're watching the movie in the bed. It is just crazy. It is insane. They know how to do movies. You get full course meals too. You can have alcohol, you know, you can have a beer, wine, whatever it is, gourmet popcorn, which is crazy. And yeah, it is quite the thing when you go to a movie theater in Korea. So yeah, and we might probably have to go over this with the silver to highlight that little. There's supposed to be like a skull on here, so probably have to touch that up, or maybe we'll. Boy, that really just thinned out too much. Yeah, we can save it. We got some muddled up stuff that we got going on here. Is there any other brown that we need to do? We could do the chest that he's holding. Probably not with that brown. No. We definitely need a lighter color. So we could go with the fur brown. That could be good. So we could do fur brown, or we got a lot of dark in here, so I want to try to lighten that up, so I don't want to use that. I think we will go, George says, my wallet will hate me. $60 to watch 3 movies. Ouch. Yeah, that's a little rough. What color do I want? No, I don't want desert yellow. Monster brown, no. Oak, no. I don't know. Maybe we could do a little bit of this desert yellow, and that will set off that chest. Let's try that. And if we don't like it, then we can always kind of mix in some of this. We still have some brown that we could mix into that to just darken it up just a tiny little bit. But Korean movie tickets are a lot cheaper than the United States, and you get way more for your money. Of course, part of that is due to the exchange rate, but movie theaters in Korea as a whole are much nicer than the ones in the United States. You know, the ones in the United States are catching up. But they were so much nicer way before the United States started getting like recliners and kind of stuff like that. So, and people are more respectful. They don't trash the movie theaters. When you watch a movie, people aren't talking through it or being loud or noisy or whatever. So I appreciate that. That is a nice thing. So, yeah, I think this will work. We might need to add a little bit of darkness. So we'll see how this goes. And we'll do this chest. We're not going to get, we're going to be able to see some details, but it just printed out so, you're just not going to, you're not going to get the same details with an FDM printer, at least with these prints anyway, at 0.08 on a 4mm nozzle. But if you don't want to do resin printing, you do a little bit of water. Maybe try to get a little bit of detail in there. Yeah, lighten that up a little bit. So we can get a little bit of those details. You know what? But Korean theaters are the bomb. We can try to get in there. Okay, I think that worked out. So we can see we got a little bit of a different highlight on there, a little bit of a brighter color, so it sets that apart. But maybe we can throw in just a tad of brown. Make it just a little bit brownier-ish. Maybe just put like a line on there. You know, oh, that's what we could do. We'll just do a brown line since we got that dark color. I'll try to reconstitute some of that. We'll just put a dark line down that center. So we just like a little bit of edge highlighting kind of thing. Yeah, that'll work. Breeze. So we can get like a tiny little bit of detail in there. It's almost imperceptible. But just kind of a little edge highlighting just to kind of, so that we can see the edges. And we should be good. I think it's as good as that's going to get. Okay, next thing we could end up doing on some of these, so we got some bone that we could end up doing, and we go gold. So bone and gold and silver, and we got some bags on there. He's got bags. We need to do a lighter color for that. Let's throw on some skeleton bone. That's still wet? No, it's not. Well, yeah, it is a little bit. See if we can reconstitute that a little bit. I should use my wet palette, but I'll just kind of throw this on there and see what we can end up getting. So there's not a lot. So we got that. Is there any other bone-ish? No, I think that's it. Skeleton bone did us good. Now, let's go into the greedy gold. Because we can put some gold on him. Try to do some contrast. Oh, he had a little bit of black on there too for his hair. We need to, I forgot about that. Totally forgot about his hair. kind of limited in the details, but got a little bit of black back there. Nice. The greedy gold, we will do some gold. Do some gold. We're not going to need a bunch. I really like this greedy gold color. It looks really good. So, and we'll just kind of put that on there. And he's got some chains on here, but it's just so hard to see. And the details are muddled up. And it's not real clear. There we go. Maybe a thicker. Yeah, we need thicker. We need to go thicker. Don't even need to water that down. Again, it's just so hard to see this stuff. I think there's a little bit of silver. And we'll just do one of these in gold on the back. We'll just have bags of gold. How's that? Boy, when you put the magnifying glasses on, you can see every little error. It's like, oops, so much needs to be fixed. But it's like 4x, so it's like you will see everything. So it won't be painted exactly the same, but we'll get a little bit of contrast in there, and we'll get some colors. That just looks, with the magnifying glass, it just looks rough. It's like, that's a rough one. And a smaller brush would probably be nice too. Let's do a little bit more gold. So that way we got some. It's like, it looks so muddled. But, hey, it worked. We printed it out, so. Now let's see if we can do some gold on this guy. And his really got muddled up, because there's just details that just didn't work out. So it's just going to be an odd looking little thing that we got going on his chest and everything. So we're just going to kind of blot in some gold. Hopefully it just looks rough. It looks rough. And then we'll just do the chains in gold. We'll do that. And then some of the chains didn't print because there's no supports, because they're hanging in midair. But in resin printing, you're able to get them. So, yeah. Should use a smaller brush, but oh well. Just kind of make up some stuff. We need to do skeleton bone deep in there. We forgot about that. Can we reconstitute some of that? Kind of, maybe, no. Yeah. Skeleton bone, we need you. We need you. I really should use a smaller brush, but oh well. I'm just going to drive on. Just load the brush up like that. And just hit that little skull in there. It's just rough. Yeah, when you compare this to resin printing, it's just, there's no comparison. But for a first time printing on an FDM printer at 0.08, I was very surprised. It looked really, really good. Seriously. Seriously. Alrighty. Let's see. What can we do next? Oh yeah, we can do some base stuff. We'll paint the bases up real quick, and then we can come back and we do some wash on the bandages and see if that does anything. And then I think we will be pretty good. I do see where I screwed up and put some of that skeleton bone on the blade there, of the axe. But let's switch this out. I'll go back to this guy. And we'll just get into some ground texture. Now this is kind of a granular, muddy type of stuff. So this is going to be interesting on how we're going to get this on the base. So I'm thinking this. Or maybe this. I think this will work. So this is ground texture, dark earth from Green Stuff World. So that's what we're using on this. And it's kind of a muddy type of material. And so we just kind of got to spatula it on there. And we might have to resort to using our fingers as well. Kind of press that in there. And then we could always, once that dries, we can go back and we could kind of press in, or just kind of add some colors to it. Maybe some lighter colors to try to need like a mini spatula, like a mini silicone spatula. And this is what we used on the big orc over there. And so it worked out kind of good. But yeah, this is not working out well. Very rough. So we'll do one like this, and then we'll do another one with just paint. So that way we can try to Try to see what we got going on here. Because this really is like playing with mud. And just trying to get that in there. And we'll still have to go back and play around with some colors and stuff. George says he misses watches movies from his projector room with my grandfather. Everyone's sitting at the table and magnifying glasses. I see a spot. Okay, nothing crazy. So we'll do that, and I think that'll be okay. And just kind of wipe this around the edge there. And then we can always go back with black paint on the base. Probably end up even just kind of add a little bit of texture in there. It's just so finicky, so to speak. So we got that. I mean, if you're setting it up on a tabletop and you're looking at it, and I'm, you know, this is about a foot away, and so I'm maybe a foot and a half away. I mean, it looks good. It's not as good as obviously those, but those are bigger and resin printed. I would say these are also pretty good. Sparky pops in, says, happy 2026. So we got that going on. Yes, happy newish yearish. So for this base, what we'll end up doing is we'll put in some, we'll paint the base instead of using that texture stuff. That texture stuff just gets all over. 2 points. New year, new me. Yesterday, we hit the gym, and yesterday was arm day. Whoa, did I blow out the arms. I am feeling it. Okay, let's see. Colors that we're going to end up doing, we're going to need like some greenish color. I think we feel we need some green, like some army green on this base. And then we can come back and we could do some brown rocks or different rock colors, maybe some grays, steel blue, or something like that. Just kind of put a little bit of greenish, kind of like what we did on the other one. So there it is. Not bad. A little rough. Of course, it's FDM printed, and we didn't really tweak a lot of stuff. So there's that. So putting that into perspective, I think we did pretty good. I think it's going to be clogged. Is it clogged? Yes, it is clogged. A little bit more. I'll try that. I'll just dab our brush a little bit. That will give us a little bit of that. And, oh, we didn't do his shoes. Well, we can always come back and do shoes. I can just kind of put this on, and then we can kind of come back and we can just hit some areas with some different colors. We also have a chain on here, so we'll have that. We'll have to detail that, and then we can do some rocks in some different colors. So we'll just kind of blast this with some army green, and then we'll hit the details. We'll get this. We'll do the black. I'm not too worried about his feet because we'll do a darker color for that. And so even though it's a lighter green, I think that'll come out good. And the other thing you could end up doing too, if you have a darker color that you put down, you could always go back with a lighter and dry brush that on there to kind of highlight some of the details. Let's take this guy. Maybe we'll use a little bit of green. We can. I don't think it's going to be. Just add a little bit of color onto that a little bit. That texture is just so granular, and it's just like muddy. Yeah, I think that'll work. Kind of simulate a little bit of growing grass, it kind of looks. So that turned out good. Not bad for the army green. We got to do shoes. I think we'll do his shoes in a, not an oak brown, but a leather brown. So let's go ahead and hit that again. That way you get his shoes. That way we got some green, we got brown, and the brown will carry up to other browns in similar colors. And I think that is, got a dried tip is in there as well. Yep, I think we're good. Little dab will do ya. We will do his boot. It's almost like it's a a little bit more. Not bad. Muddled, that's for sure. But again, FDM printed, not bad. You can do the same thing on this guy. On his boots, these are going to be a little easier. funny, my wife went out last night with our daughter to do some beauty stuff, little beauty shop action, and then they couldn't get a taxi, so I had to go pick them up last night. Of course, it was New Year's, but that was the first time ever that we had never been able to get a taxi with an app or anything. Nobody was responding, so that was kind of odd. It was a different. Yeah, it's so I went and picked them up, dropped the daughter off back on post, and she's got today off as well, and so we're gonna have lunch today, and then she's gonna go to Hawaii for, I don't know, a week, maybe 9 days, something like that. And I think that she'll have fun with that. I think I can do a little bit of brown. No, that's that. Well, we can. No, we don't want to do the brown, because we did that weird looking color. It was that. It wasn't a brown, it was like a green. Green? No, it wasn't necrotic flesh. I just had it. What was that? Oh, it's this over here. That's desolate brown. Brownish decay? I think that was it. Algae green. That's two. I think it was this one here. So we're going to put this onto his other bandage that I forgot on the arm. Like, oops. So we can get that, and I forgot the little bit on his hand. And I think we're good. We can do some little bit of gold on his front there too. Let's go back and we'll throw some gold on his front. Get the gold, get our gold. It's probably a little too much, but oh well. And we'll just kind of I want to I think that's as good as we're going to get on this guy. And maybe put a little bit of wash on that skeleton bone. That could work. This guy here. Do we need any more gold? Well, I could throw some there. I'll make that stick out a little bit. I think we got enough of that. I think we can go through and we can start doing, well, on the base. We need to do some darker on the base on this one. So, like a darker green. We did the army green. Maybe necromancer cloak. Maybe we can blot that in there. Or what's another good color? Kind of a darker, we can kind of mix this up. Dark stone, yeah, let's do some dark stone. Yeah, way to bring in the new year here in Korea. Kind of enjoying it. I think for 2026, we're going to do 3D printing. We're going to do more miniatures. We're going to do more painting. I think I'm going to get another camera for this camera here that you're watching here, something that's got a little bit better autofocus. So I'm looking at the YOLO Live 3 S3. So we're going to give that a shot. That's a couple $100 right there. So I'll probably order that next month. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think it's also, oh yeah, that definitely needs mixed up a lot more. That is mixy. Anyway, so yeah, looking at getting a better camera for this. I'm also looking at getting a longer USB-C cable to go from my Mac, probably about 30 feet. So that way I can have try to get a dedicated camera, which I'll probably take this camera that you're looking on here and use that as like the K2 Plus cam. So that way I can have a separate webcam looking when I'm doing some prints there. You know, I could pull up like I do on the Creality print. I mean, that works, but I want to get a little bit better. I want a better clarity, better. I think that's where this camera that you're watching on would work well with that. It's fairly decent. You know, it's got good color. We can adjust the colors a little bit and the contrast. It's pretty good, but I want something with viewing this where if I bring something up close, we get better autofocus. And of course, when you take it away, you get better autofocus as well. Okay, I think this is better. So let's proceed to get our gray on, or actually our dark stone. And where's my favorite little, this here. This is my game changer. This is my little foam thing. And let's mix this up, as I can see that is not mixed up. And what we'll end up doing is we'll just take our little piece of packing foam and we'll dip that in there. Well, we'll do that side or this side. And I just tear some little pieces off of here, and then so that way we can get a little bit of variation, and then we can just kind of hit this thing up on some of these to give it some detail and some variety to get rid of that mass expanse of green that we have. And then we could go back and we could do some painting as well. But this works out pretty good. Just kind of break up everything. See if we can get in there a little bit better. Not too bad. And then we could also go back with our brush and load that up, and we can get some, kind of do the same thing. Get some more of these rocks and details done. And then we can try to go back and hit up some of those. We got chains in there, which is crazy. Chains lying on the ground. So we can go back with some silver, which is going to be fun. Kind of do that. So that way the base is not like just one solid color. So we got some green, we got some of the stone color, and then with the silver, definitely with the silver we'll, well, I don't think we're done with this yet. We can do some wash on that. We'll let this dry. Let's do some wash. And I'm thinking a strong tone on the bandages. Oh. And this, it's such a small amount. We could probably just load our brush and it'll be good. Like so. And let's go ahead and do that. Because that wash can get into the recesses and we can kind of get a little bit of color in there. Which it is working. We are getting some of that wash into the recesses, which will bring out some shadows, which will make this look better. Oh yeah, that is definitely better. And then we gotta do that on the back, on there. The little arm thing that we got going on. So that adds a little bit of color on there. Changes it a little bit, and then we'll do a little bit on the skull as well. Nice. And we could even just kind of throw a little bit on there. Kind of add some depth. Cover up some of the, now make the skin look so fresh. Like it's got a little bit of a tan to it. So I'll just throw a little bit on there. And across his back. So I can get some little bit of color in there. The thigh. Chest. And I think that ends up being good. So you can see how those bandages on like his knee and that stuff, it added some color into those, which is good. I think that'll come out really nice. Let's go back to this guy. The only thing I'd add on him is maybe just color on his skin, because it really is bright. So we can kind of get a little bit of color in there, and we can highlight some of those details with the wash. his face wasn't as bright and cheery as the other guy. So we'll just kind of flop a little bit of that on there. Same thing here. Just add some color in there. Muddle it up a bit, and some down there. I think we are good. Not bad. Not bad. I think we did good, ladies and gentlemen, with our little experiment here. But you're going to be the judge in regards to whether something like this would be tabletop ready. I got to do a little bit of touch up on his axe, and I think on this thing as well. Let's see. Squirt. She squirts. It's a squirter. And let's see. A little bit of touch up there. That piece just didn't get supported enough, so it looks a little funky. We just call it battle damage. That's all, just a little bit battle damage. Looks good. Yeah, it's getting there, George. It is getting there. Any other silver that we need to do? Not on this one. I think we are good. As good as it's going to get, at least at my level, my little level of expertise, which isn't much. Make sure I clean off all of that texture, that earth texture. Once that stuff dries, it's hard to get off. And we got to do some chains on this guy, on the base. And we'll see if do we need any, what were we doing? Silver, yeah, that's right. We need some silver on here. I accidentally got his axe, accidentally got some stuff on there that shouldn't have been on there. I know somebody's probably going to say, why are you painting the underside? No one's going to see it. No one's going to know. I will know. Any other silver touch-ups? I don't think so. I think we are good. And yeah, I think that's going to be as good as we're going to get on this thing. But we need to do some silver on those chains on the ground, or gold. I think gold would be better. Silver is kind of like green, stone color, silver. It's all kind of the same thing. I want something with a little bit of contrast. I think the gold would work. So we're just gonna get some soap on this guy and let that stick. And then we'll clean them up later. And we'll use a smaller brush. Where's our small brush? That's not a brush we want. This one smaller? No. This one smaller? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. We will go back to the gold. Going for the gold. The greedy gold. It's got real good coverage on it. And I think that'll work out on those chains on the bottom. And it's funny, these are going to get finished painting before these guys do. Oh well, it is what it is. I don't think we're going to need to water this down because we want it pretty thick. And we're going to go for the Super Geek glasses. And here we go. Water thing is dripping. The rubber on it is going out. I think that was a good idea to do the gold, but there's just a lot of chains. And somebody was telling me if your base is nice, if your base is super nice and you have an average mini, then it will look better. They'll think that your mini is better because the base is better. So we will see. So in other words, spend more time on the base. I mean, obviously spend time on your mini, but if you have an okay mini, to raise it up to be a better painted mini, you do a real good job on your base. So and again, why am I spending so much time on something that's because I can. What? Any other gold that we need to do? And again, it's muddled. It's just, this is a rough mini. It is indeed rough, but I think we're almost done. We're so close. So close. So close. Paint Minis Live shows up, says, hey, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Or Paint Minis. We printed minis on our K2 Plus, and we're painting minis on our K2 Plus. So, yeah, it's a great way to start the new year. I'll let that sit. We'll go back and we'll dry that a little bit. And let's see if we can't get, take a look and see if we can get a good view of this. So there is our mini. It was printed on the Creality K2 Plus at 0.08. No special settings or anything. We just kind of threw it in there and went for it. Layer height is 0.08 with the nozzle 0.4 millimeter nozzle. So is that playable? Could that work on a tabletop game? Here's for reference this is the bigger miniature of that, but this is resin printed. And again, you can see a lot of the details are muddled, but it's not bad, honestly. Focus. So, of course, the resin one is always going to be better. Now let's take a look at this one. I mean, that could work, but compared to the axe is messed up because we didn't have supports. I had to support that with a roll of masking tape. But yeah, not bad. Base turned out good. And if we compare him with his big brother, yeah, there it is. So not bad. I think we're almost done with that. I think now the only thing that we need to do some black around that base. And we can do that with our Just Art acrylic marker pen. Let's just go ahead and we'll see how that works. Sweetie, I'm filming, so hopefully you're presentable. Hello.
Hi.
Morning, morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy another with you, dear.
I know. It's always going to be good with you.
Thank you for blessing us.
Thank you. You're so awesome. My awesome wife.
I love you.
Number 2. She always makes the new year better. So, we're almost done. We're getting there. These little pens are not bad. I mean, I wouldn't use these pens to like paint everything, but you know, I think they do have their place. For people who are just starting out, I would probably say I would recommend the speed paints. Okay, so there we go. I think we not too bad. Just fill this in with a little more coverage, and then we could even do like a gold band around the bottom. I think that'll really make this, and we can call it good. So I think we did good. What a way to start 2026 is by getting some miniatures painted and finishing these up. These resin guys, I've been painting them, or actually I have not been painting them for like a year and a half. It's taken like 2 years to, I do a little bit and a little bit, and then I go on to something else. I have a squirrel moment, and then I go on to do something else. I'll paint something on these, and then I go do something else. It just really has been a labor of love, and it's taken a lot of love. It's taken a long time. So with these, this gold turns out pretty good. So we'll just do a ring of gold around this base. And I think we can call that good. So yeah, tiny little ring of gold around there. It works. Yes, yes. And the tips on these are like foam. They're really flexible. So you can get into some good areas. The brush tip on this is nice. They have another tip on here, which is a fine tip. We'll try that edge on here. But it's not as, it's still foamy and flexible, but it does have more rigidity. So it's kind of like a thicker. I did this on the other one, and I think that the little added gold ring on there just adds a little bit of, so we do the gold ring on there? Yeah, we did a little bit on here. We'll just do a second coat. And it just adds a little bit, you know, besides just doing a black, you know, the black base and then you're done. I think if you want a little bit of extra pop on there, you end up doing the little gold ring around it, and it ends up being good. So like we got there. And then if you ended up, you could probably take my time and do a ring on along the top. That would really set that off. That would really be nice. But we're just going to stick with this as it is. Let's get back to the desk, and we'll let these sit. I think we ended up doing good. So let's go back to and read some comments. Oh, I still have my latte. That's cold. What we ended up doing is we painted some miniatures that we printed out on our K2 Plus, which worked out pretty good. And are they tabletop ready? I think they can be. I think you can get to the place of where we printed those miniatures. We didn't do any crazy settings, so it's kind of like from a newbie type of perspective. We're able to take it into Creality Print, do some tree slim supports. Top Z distance was 0.25, which was my go-to for the top Z distance. And boom, came out pretty good at 0.08 layer height. I would, in future videos, I think I'm going to tweak around. A bunch of people are printed minis on FDM machines, so I'll probably steal their information and settings, and we'll do some more test prints. There's nothing new under the sun. Let's see, catch up on the thing. Looks like some 40K going on over there. Yeah, we got a couple of minis over there that have 40K. Well said, I can. I love painting because I can put out my best work at my own pace. Exactly. Enjoy it. You know, and I think that's part of it. The resin printed minis that it took me, you know, over 2 years, and I'm still painting them. I get frustrated with it and just the small details, and it's like, I just set it aside. Then I go do something else. So, yeah. Paint Minions Live says, great stream, by the way. Lovely setup. Excellent paint job. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to try to change that camera so we get a better autofocus. So I'm looking into better cameras for that, little webcam things. They look like great prints, both the FDM and the resin. You have your printer dialed in pretty well. We're getting there. We are getting there. And yeah, behind every good painter is a good partner supporting them. Yes, even though the hobby is expensive, it keeps me out of trouble. So the wife appreciates that. So we've got that going on. Some good stuff. Tabletop ready. I think that would work. And depending on the type of minis, depending on the amount of detail, because you have some that are just got some crazy delicate parts, might be, might be a little harder. You know, you have people that are out there that have some crazy looking minis that take it, that are resin supported minis, and they put it into Blender, and there's a plug-in to go from resin supports to FDM supports, and then they print those things out, take 10, 12, 16 hours on one miniature with all kinds of changing settings, and they can get some fantastic results. I just don't know if 16 hours is worth it, but I appreciate the attention to detail of problem solving and trying things and trying to get the best result possible. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. I don't think FDM printing will replace resin printing. Yeah, it's just not there yet. So yeah, it's going to turn out pretty good. Let's see what other stuff. I've got a bunch of minis. I've got my pile of shame and stuff that we need to paint and print and paint, and I got some other white figures, as you can see over there on the table. Yeah, it just needs it just needs some work. And we're going to go through, and we're going to end up doing also some more Speed Paint 2.0. I really like those. I really like those. If you've got a good zenithal on it and get some gradient, those things can come out awesome. And matter of fact, I want to show you. Let's go back to the paint station, and I'll show you this. Probably the best in what I've done so far is this guy here. This is all done with about 99.9% of speed paints. And you can see that turned out remarkably well. There were some things like dirty down rust that I used on the base, but for the majority of everything else, and a little bit of resin, clear resin on those things, but all the colors on everything turned out fantastic. So yeah, it turned out fantastic. Again, great job on speed paints. You just can't. And this took like 6 hours maybe. I got a video on it. So there was that, and that turned out really good. But I just wanted to see, I like that World of Warcraft orc. It had all the details. I just wanted to see how far I could go with the Speed Paint 2.0, and did really good. Really good. Orange pants. George says orange pants. I was like, I'm not wearing orange pants. But the models are impressive. I'm trying. You know, everybody's got their own race to run, and it's kind of amazing because, let's see, about 2.5 years ago, I didn't know how to paint. You know, I've been here in Korea for just over 3 years now, 3 years and 2 months. And so it was probably about 2 3/4 years. Before then, I hadn't painted anything since I was 12 or 13 years old. And when I was painting when I was 12, it's like the Jet is gray, the Jeep is green. And, you know, so my painting wasn't as evolved. And when I started looking, I needed a hobby because I'm retired here in Korea. I needed something besides going to the gym. And I saw some Warhammer figures, and I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. And so I watched an inordinate amount of YouTube videos, way too many, and then finally got some Warhammer figures, started painting those. I was appalled at the cost of Warhammer figures, and that is insane. And so then that got me into resin printing, because there was free figures that you could get, like on Colts 3D things, Thingiverse and things like that. And yeah, it worked out pretty good. So just kept improving and working on it. And so, yeah, in about 2 3/4 years, I went from, you know, Barney Basic, slapping paint on without thinning it out or anything like that, to, you know, I'm not like super good. I'm not like those, what is that? I don't know, the guy that does Eliministra or whatever it is. You got some people that do some crazy stuff. They're able to blend paints into each other and do that NMM or whatever. Those are insane. You know, just so realistic. I'm nowhere near that. But I'm pleased with the results that I've gotten. George says the Borderlines outfit. Yes, I did pick up some orange pants. And so I need to do the cell shading on that. Again, another project I need to do, because we did print out the Borderlands rifle, Ripper mask, Psycho helmet. We did that. So yeah, I still need to work on that. Paint Minis Live says, nicely done. Could I ask how you got that over the shoulder shot? You can kind of see it. Let's turn on the house lights. And we'll take you off of here, and we'll kind of point you in the right direction. So there, what you can end up seeing is I've got a stand that, and then I have the bar that goes across, and then I have another, I'm trying to figure out my fingers, then another stand over there that clamps onto the desk. So it kind of creates a scaffolding. And then if you look like right there, I've got like an arm that kind of goes from, let's see, I'm trying to figure out the bar there that goes up. There's a clamp that goes on there and comes out, and as I'm trying to, and hits that camera there, and then I have the cable going around. So that's kind of what I end up having. And that's a Logitech Brio camera. Not, again, it's not, I'm not professional to have like a $1,000 camera to get, you know, all the cool shots and all that. It's just kind of webcam. But with that, let me show you where I got that from. Because actually it was Amazon. And if I can find that real quick, like. It was like a Ulanzi. dun, 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 dun. So I got that crossbar. Well, was it Ulanzi or newer? Yep, that was that, the magic arm. I did that. Mount is what that was. Trying to look up these things and see what. Swedish Forge. Hey! Swedish Forge is on board. Nice to see you, sir. Good, good. Let me see if I can find that. We had that one. We had the newer. That popped up there. So we've got that. Kind of like that thing. And then, oh no, that was it right there. That one. The newer overhead. So there's that. And I'm trying to find all these things. And then I did this one here. So we did a combination for that scaffolding and everything. Let's bring up the details here. So we have this one here. This is from newer. And what you end up having is the one on the left that you've got right there, that piece that goes up, has a crossbar. But that crossbar wasn't long enough, so I had to order a separate one. But yeah, that's basically ended up getting that. So you have that there. And of course, you're going to have some recommendations from, you know, different parts and camera arms. The other thing that I ended up getting was this one here, this photoconic 10-foot, 3-meter aluminum bar to go across, because that was longer and that would actually accommodate the table that I have. And then the arm that we're talking about was this one right here. So this is the arm, and as you can see there, it says currently unavailable. But you can find something similar to this, to where that's connected onto that scaffolding, and you're able to articulate that, and it clamps around like you see there, and you're able to put a camera on there or whatever. So it's kind of similar to that. Yeah. So, and then if you look down here, you can see all kinds of different types of arms and stuff like that, overhead camera shots or whatever. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that you can end up doing to help facilitate your painting endeavors. And yeah, so yeah, that's basically what I end up using there. Worked out pretty good, pretty good. I like it. It works. I need to get a better camera that has better autofocus. Paint Minis Live says, excellent progress over 3 years. You really made the hobby your own if you have the cash. Kenny Butcher has a great one-on-one class for blending. If you do go see him, tell him I sent you. Really? So he got a, let me pull that up. Kenny Butcher. Boucher. Let's see if we can pull him up if he's on YouTube. Ah, okay. All right. Next Level Painting. Gotcha. I'm not subscribed to him,
Yo,
but
dog, Kenny Boucher here. Next Level Painting.
all right. We will go ahead and subscribe to him, and we'll check out his videos. Paint Minis also says, thanks for sharing. I love that shoulder shop. Much appreciated. Yeah, you're welcome. And I think I'm looking towards maybe the YOLO Live S3 camera. That seems to have a real good autofocus. So whether it's far or you have something close to the camera, I'm still looking through webcams. I'm not going to be able to afford a $1,000 or $2,000 camera just for an over-the-shoulder shot. We're using a Facecam 4K, which is meh. It does good. But that YOLO Live S3 cam looks pretty good too. So we're just looking at different cameras, try to get a better zoom and better autofocus. So we're looking at doing that as well. Some of the other stuff that we have planned for 2026, we did the sword that you can see there. We did that last year. And we've got a Warhammer axe that we have printed out. We just need to put it together. And so now that I know the trick, I don't know if you knew this or not, super glue and water. So you put super glue on one part, a little bit of tiny bit of water on the other, and it's like activator. So a guy just told me about that today, and it works. We did a little test and everything, and yeah, it ended up working like crazy. So held it for like 12 seconds, boom, it was on there. It was like using activator. So somebody passed it on to me, pass it on to you. Some good stuff. So we're going to do the Warhammer axe, and that'll probably go on the other side over here and as a display item. And then, like George mentioned, we have the orange pants. We have the Borderlands rifle and mask that we ended up doing. I really like the Galactic Armory one that we did. Let me show you that. I guess this is kind of like a 2025 review. So we got this helmet. This is the Borderlands Psycho, and we did this. That turned out good. You can see we got some spikes in there, even got some rust. We did, I think, a fairly decent job on that. And yeah, look at that. Came out really nice. Came out really nice. So we got that. And then we also did a Borderlands rifle. So I might as well pull that out since we're doing show and tell. Crash bang. Here is the Borderlands rifle that you can end up seeing. And we'll just kind of do a little drive-by shot. See if we can't get some light on the subject. But this came out good. I really like this, and it came out really well. Again, the colors and everything came out good, and the rifle was awesome. So printed this up, and that came out pretty good. So yeah, some good stuff there. And then we also did another Borderlands. We did a Borderlands pistol. So we did this here. So we got that going on there. So that came out kind of good. A little bit of a different color scheme, but worked out well. And that is pretty good. And as George said, we also ended up getting the orange pants, cargo pants. And so we'll be doing that. And then we did the Mr. and Mrs. Ripper masks. And here is what those look like. So this is the wife. I taught her how to paint this, and she painted this one up. And this is the one that I ended up doing in blue. And yeah, she's got the little red eyes. I ended up just doing, and all that is just some window tint. The eyepiece in there is actually some filament, 3D printed mesh, kind of infill, and those came out really, really nice. So yeah, some good stuff on that. So we did that, and yeah, so we had some fun in 2025, and we're going to try to have more fun in this year. Got some Hulk stuff going on. This needs to get painted, as you can see there. This is FDM printed, so that needs to get painted. Then we got some other things resin printed. Just finished up printing this sword up, the Frostborn, and this came out nice. I'm going to give this to my daughter, so that's going to be a continued project that we got going on. Yeah, that is going to be pretty good. This came out good. I liked it. I like the other sword better. That one is, it is the beast. This one is the beast. I mean, look at this size of this sword. This is crazy. So we did some awesome stuff there. Yeah, some good details. Of course, we lacquered it, you know, some varnish, high gloss varnish, and yeah, it came out pretty good. Painted in the red details on the black, little black marks on the red, and boom. Yeah. So yeah, this ended up. Good, good, good. Love it. And then other small projects that we've done during last year. It's been really, really fun. So yeah, really, really good. Paint Minis Live says Kenny is the granddaddy of Painting 40K. Been working with him for years. Great coach for setting up commission studio if you want to be a better painter or go down the business route. Interesting. That, Says, oh, pretty cool. Excellent weathering work. Thank you, thank you. Warhammer figures. Will it print well with FDM printer? I think so. We did print Warhammer guy. Is this? No, that's not FDM printed. This one over here was FDM printed. This is a larger guy that we ended up doing. Again, no tweaking, just kind of like a 0.16 millimeter height, layer height. And you can see that turned out pretty good. And we're just doing a little bit of a dry brush on him, and eventually we'll paint him up, but he turned out fairly well. So I think this is really going to be a good, again, pile of shame. More pile of shame. But printing out FDM miniatures, we haven't done Warhammer miniatures, but we just finished up these two guys at 0.08 with the Creality K2 Plus, and there they are. So they came out, I think, pretty decent. I mean, the details are muddled, and it's not as good as, you know, let me see if I get my big ass thumb out of the way. Not as detailed as, you know, resin, obviously. But I mean, I could put that down on a table. I don't know, what do you think? That tabletop ready? Would you be ashamed to put this on a table? And if you get really close to it, you'll see a bunch of issues. But as far as the Warhammer figures, we'll do some more of those. But I wanted to do those guys because they have got a lot of details. They needed supports, and it presented much more of a challenge for printing out on an FDM printer. And I was pleasantly surprised. A lot of muddled details, not crisp and clean like resin printing. But you throw on some primer and you throw on some paint, it covers a multitude of sins. So yeah, they turned out pretty good. But I think if we end up doing some Warhammer stuff, 32 millimeter, we'll be able to do those, and they'll probably come out even better. And one way that we'll get even better with that, we printed those at 0.08 layer height. I ordered a 0.2 nozzle. So when that comes in, we'll throw that into the K2 Plus and we'll print some minis. And we'll slow down some of the print speed because going too fast will muddle up some of the details. So we're going to give that a shot. And maybe some other changes, you know. But see what we can get. And there's people that get knee deep into it, but I don't think I'll get that deep, but we'll print some minis on there. But yeah, next level painting. Kenny Boucher. He looks like he's got a lot of videos. Oh wow. Yeah, he's got Ah, look at that. Some of the stuff that he does. Holy crow. Look at that sword. That is awesome. Look at the details on that. Oh, I think I'm going to like that. Interesting how he does that. I wonder how he does his camera setup and what cameras he uses. Wonder if he has a video on that. Maybe we could do that and check that out. Camera. Nope, he didn't. Let's see if he's got setup. Wet palette guide, hacks, airbrush. No, I don't think he's got anything for the setup on how he has his little thing going on. How to airbrush, robes and details, painting. Dude looks like he's got it going on. He does. Wow, that looks impressive. That does look impressive. I'm definitely gonna bone up on some of his videos. Question from Paint Mini Lights: have you done any high fantasy figures? Most of my work is D&D crowd around 28 millimeters. I don't know. I kind of started off in Warhammer stuff, and then I started doing other stuff, and I've got some D&D type stuff, like let me see. We have like the Viking, Ivor. I'm really proud of this one. This one turned out really good. And all the details that came out with him came out nice. This was really, really good. I like this. So this was with speed paints. So if you think you see all the gradients and that stuff, no, it's speed paint. The speed paint did the work for me, but this turned out really, really good. And yeah, there's that. As far as Dungeons and Dragons, I did this little guy here and this little dragon, and you can see underneath. This is resin printed, obviously, but I think we did some good work on this, and you can see the wings, and we got some details in there, and just some spots and all that. This was a while ago, but this turned out good as well, I think. And the base wasn't too bad either. So, but I started doing larger miniatures, and I even did a larger one of him, of the dragon, because I wanted a bigger one. So I did like this guy, and that came out good. Yeah, the underside, oh yeah, that turned out really, really nice. You can see there. I did a little bit of a different color on the, we have kind of like a purple type of thing going on there. And this turned out really nice as well. I really enjoyed doing this one. So, because the dragon. I just wish it was positioned so you could see more under the wings, because those came out really good. Oops. As far as smaller miniatures, Dungeons and Dragons-ish, I did this little guy here. So we got him, and just kind of did him, and that came out kind of good. I think this is one-page rules, or I don't know, something. I can't remember what we ended up doing with this, or where it came from. But yeah, I think this turned out good. Got some good colors in there, so not bad. And then I've got, did my orc, my cave troll. Boom, check that out. So that came out nice. And I did a lot of the skin with inks. That was the first time I kind of messed around with inks and kind of muddled through it, and we got some good coloring on there. And you can see, I like that. That came out really good. So, and the base came out nice. You know, we got some little bit of bronze in there. So not bad. Not bad at all. So just trying different things. And then going back, we got a couple, we got a Warhammer one. So we did this guy here, and that turned out, this was a fun one to do. And it came out nice. I liked it. The hair, I was kind of, didn't really know how to do the hair, but as far as everything else, it came out nice. So there's that one. And then let's see, what is another one I did? Oh, I've got bigger models. So I started doing some bigger models, so because they're easier to paint. And I got this one off of Colts 3D, so kind of the mishmash. And this one turned out nice. And see there, this is resin printed, but we got some pretty good details on there. You can see the base came out nice. Some details and rust and all that stuff. This one turned out really good too. Even got some muzzle burn on there a little bit. So yeah, I'm just kind of muddling through and just trying different things that I see people do on YouTube, and this is what I've been able to do so far. So it is good. It is good. Let's see. Here's another good one. This one is good. This guy. So look at him. And he came out nice. You can see that. I think we did good on that. So some fairly, you know, the base turned out great. You know, just little details and things like that. I think I got this guy off of Colts 3D as well, way back in the day. But that one turned out really nice. And then as far as like a mini, I've got like this guy here. So I did like a volcano base, and you can see he's kind of like flying. And I like that red, the red color, and then of course that his shoulder pads and things like that, that ended up being really nice as well. So yeah, that turned out good. And I got a number of other miniatures, but those are kind of like the highlighted ones. I've got some smaller miniatures of Warhammer. As far as like D&D, I don't know. I'll do more of those maybe some other day. Let's see. Done. Let's catch up on the Swedish Forge says, how many prints do you have? I have, printers do I have? I have 2 K1 Max, but I'm thinking about buying a resin printer, but it is toxic and I live in a small apartment. Do you have any tips? I live in an apartment too. It's bigger, it's 4-bedroom, 2-bath, but I definitely have to vent that out. So I would get, if you're going to get a resin printer, you definitely need to get a tent to put your printer in and make sure it has a fan and that you could vent those fumes outside, because resin doesn't smell good. And the VOCs are yuck. You don't want to be breathing that in. Currently, I have the Saturn 3 Ultra for my resin printer, and then I have the Creality K2 Plus as my FDM printer. And I'm thinking about getting the Prusa Core 1L. So we're looking at that. Paint Minis Live says, I believe he uses a static camera, something like a Canon with a macro lens. It's an expensive setup, yeah, but he does it for a living. I just use what I can get. I'm kind of there. I don't know. If I find an expensive camera laying on the ground, maybe. But yeah, I'm not going to spend $2 or $3 grand for a camera. There's no way. But yeah, some of that stuff looks good. Paint Mini says, excellent work. I see speed paints, the more I'm tempted to the dark side. Clients still like classic gradient, but heck, I can do it cheaper with speed paints. Might have to hop on. And I was really surprised at the speed paints. You know, I was trying to learn blending and doing that on my own. I was stepping into that. But then when I saw that you have a black painted model, you do some white zenithal and you make sure you have some gradient with that white zenithal, and then the speed paints, you're able to get that. You're able to get that gradient, and it's so easy. It feels like cheating. So that would be my recommendation. I'd jump on it. Get a small pack and try it and see what happens. Like I said, I was really impressed with those. George says, the snow speeder. I don't have this. Do I have a snow speeder? I got some stuff over there. Yeah, I got the little card printed snow speeder. I've got that. I got some little stuff at the top there, like an X-Wing, TIE Fighter, Y-Wing. That's just, they're not really, they're just gray, and that's it. So, Paint Mini says, wow, Cave Troll is out of the world. Yeah, that turned out really good. That and that World of Warcraft one with the speed paints. That was great. I think I did that in like 4 or 6 hours. I have a video on that, by the way, going over that stuff. Very nice work. Great job. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What is another good one? Oh, I did Mandalorian, and I did the Hulk. Those are 2 really good ones as well. The Mandalorian one turned out great. This I was super proud of. This I got off of Colts, and I would say this is probably the one I'm most proud of, because the amount of work put into it and the details and what I was able to do. You know, I could always improve on, you know, the cape and things like that and the blending, but overall, this turned out great. And then with the little addition on the base with some sand, just kind of makes that pop even more. So yeah, he turned out really good. You know, a little bit of dirty down rust, and then yeah, we even got Grogu in there. So yeah, it turned out great. Really, really good. I was really, really happy with this. So this is resin printed as well, but that turned out great. And then another good one was my Hulk. And the Hulk turned out really nice as well. This one is when I did more airbrushing, as far as you can see the different colors of the green and everything. So we had like a darker green and lighter green to highlight the muscles and everything. Of course, so a lot of that was airbrush, but that turned out good as well. I mean, I was really proud of this one too. And I love the Hulk. So, and the base, we did real good on the base. That came out really nice. And again, you just got to love the Hulk. Oh, so good. This is the one I want to do a life-size one. But I don't know if I'd have the room to do that. Yeah, I would like to do either Ivor the Viking or the Hulk at like 5 or 6 feet tall. But it's going to take a hell of a lot of printing. So that's why I think and I also want to do cosplay armor. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Swedish Forge says, I'm a big fan of Marvel prints, Wicked stuff. Yeah, they do some good stuff. They've got some really good prints. So yeah, I really like their work as well. Lot of great models. And yeah, but a life-size model, that's on my bucket list, is to do a life-size model. So whether it's going to be Ivor the Viking, which I did print a little bit of a bigger Viking, on him. Let's see if we can pull him out. And yeah, here he is, and this is FDM printed. And that came out pretty good. So, and this is where I was like, oh, maybe I could do him life size and stick him in the corner of the room or whatever. Yeah, so the details on that are insane. So, yeah, maybe we'll do him. I don't know. So many things you want to do. So many things I want to do. And then we did some, like a miniature chaplain helmet. You can see there. I just kind of did this and just kind of played around with this. I've got this file. This file, I think, is from Galactic Armory, but then they got the cease and desist order. And yeah, that can be very problematic. But the cool thing about this, put an LED light in it. Boom. That looked cool. Yeah. What are the colors? We got blue. Yeah. And you can see the lights up in the top. I made sure that I had holes in there. And then of course we got the white. Yeah. Just little cool little stuff. So Swedish Forge says, I just finished printing a ×23 girl Laura Wolverine. She's 1.5 meters tall. What? Really? Oh, I would love to see that. Hey, dude, here, Swedish Forge. Official The Varied Life at gmail.com. Let me make sure I got this spelled right. So in the comments section, there's my email address. You can email me. Anybody can email me. It doesn't really matter. People say hi, show me what they've done or whatever. But I would, if you've got pictures of the Laura Wolverine, I would love to see it. We could throw it up on the stream and show everybody. Swedish Forge says 5 days printing. Wow. 1.5 meters? Wow. You got to have pictures, dude. You got to send me pictures. We got to see it. You threw it out there. We got to see the pictures. Yeah, send me an email. He's like, I can send an email now. Yes, definitely. That would be cool to see. Let me make sure I get my email up and ready so when it pops up. And then I'll keep your email. You know, I won't show that to everybody. So I'll just show the picture. But yeah, anybody can send me an email. You know, say hi, show me some of the stuff you do. I've had people send me pictures of brisket that they've been smoking and ribs. That was kind of wild. People send me pictures of their dogs or their trips or whatever, and people doing 3D prints and painting. Ferrithus, he's, you know, send me some stuff that he's printed. He's a really good guy as well. So many good people that I meet on this stream. It is awesome. And get tips and tricks on how to do things better, or kind of like, you know, Paint My Minis Live recommended that guy, Kenny Boucher. Other people have sent me videos or links and saying, hey, look at this, try this, whatever, to improve your painting. I'm all for that. So if I'm doing something wrong, let me know. Because I'm old enough now to realize that I can be wrong and have been wrong many times, and I wish people would have corrected me and put me on the right path, on the path of righteousness instead of evil. You need to keep me in check. So, but yeah, I don't mind getting called out for if something's wrong, because then I can take it and say, oh yeah, well there is a better way, or there is a way that is righter than the way that I was doing it. So I'm all for that, you know. Let's see. What else do we got going on? So whenever you get that popped up, I'll look for that email. Paint Minis Live says, what is the biggest lesson mini painting has taught you since you started your journey? What is the biggest lesson mini painting? You mean philosophically? Or just functional lesson? I guess that's we need to differentiate. What is the biggest lesson? I think in an esoteric answer is that I came to the point of painting minis where I was comfortable with myself, if that's kind of a weird thing to look at. I'd be very critical at the things that I would end up doing, and I like the fact that painting minis I would be able to withdraw from the rest of the world, and I got some mental health issues just like everybody else, so no big deal. But it really became a place of solitude. And through painting minis, it also helped me be able to accept myself and to realize that, again, reinforcing that thing of saying, hey, this is messed up, but it's not a big deal, and here's how you can fix it. Whereas before in my life, it was like, well, this is messed up. Oh, I'm a horrible person, So on that end. But when we talk about the question of functionality, what is the biggest lesson mini painting has taught you since you started your journey? Forward progress. And your journey and how fast you go in this journey is on you. And don't get defeated. Don't get down on yourself because you're not progressing as fast as other people, or you're not painting as great as all these other people out there that you're just like, oh my gosh, why am I even in this group? I hate looking at those minis and the models that are painted that are just like 100% excellence, and I'm still faltering around. Don't let that dissuade you. You're on your own journey, and you're going to have to learn things at your own pace. And because somebody is further along in their journey, don't let that make you frustrated, if that makes sense. And I think the other thing would be the biggest lesson is don't try to do everything at once. You watch these videos and there's video on this and video on this and gradient, and then how to do metals and how to do this and how to do glows and all, and facial features and this and that and highlights and lining, edge highlighting. And so it gets so overwhelming that again, that's kind of frustrating because you can't do everything. So pick one or two things and work on that. Start with your base color, learn how to thin out your paints. So you do that. And then, learn how to thin out your paints. You learn some complementary colors, use a color wheel. Then work on, some little edge highlighting in the next one that you do. If you have a resin printer or, FDM printer and you're printing miniatures, they're cheap. They're pennies on the dollar. So print out a bunch, learn how to thin out your paints, and then go back and learn how to do edge highlighting. And then try to play with the color wheel and, either the color triad and the triangle and different colors that complement each other or contrast. Just learn a little bit at a time and try to incorporate that, and then just build upon that. Don't try to do everything at once. Hey, we got Starkiller here. Hey, awesome. Awesome. Happy New Year. Let's see what he got going on here. Boom. We're waiting for an email from Swedish Forge. He's going to be sending the picture of his Swedish. Oh, there he is. Okay, right. Boom. A 1.5 meter female. Wow. Female Wolverine. Okay. Oh, he's even got a YouTube page. So I'm going to put that up on screen. So here it is. Boom. There we got Swedish Forge. He's got his own YouTube page. He's got some cool stuff. Oh yeah, there you are. Nice. Do all of that stuff. Printing. Okay, boom, there you go. Everybody else subscribe as well. Matter of fact, we'll put this in the put that in the comment section. Come on, go. So you can all check them out, give them some love, some support, and yeah, doing some printing stuff. Cool, nice. But let's take a look at his, I don't want to show his email address, but let me throw up some pictures on here. We'll just pull them off of the thing here. Download. A lot of downloaded pictures from Swedish Forge. Okay. Alrighty, let's check it out. We're getting there. Swedish Forge says, I just started with YouTube. Yeah, cool. Well, you got another subscriber. Let's take a look at the pics and see what you got going on for your... So we got some downloads. There we go. Wow. Make it a little bit bigger. See if we can... Well, let's see. Boom. You know what I'm going to do? Well, I think we could do this. Boom. Okay, so he's got... Let's do the Thanos. And we'll just do a little bit of cropping action here. Or no, that's the Hulk. Hey, it's the Hulk. I'll make him a little bit bigger so we can see what he's got going on. Look at this. So we got the Hulk on his throne. Nice. That looks good. That looks good. And then let's see, he's got another one Marvel character. Do a little bit of cropping. Oh, he's got Cyclops. Ooh, that looks good. Don't you love 3D printing? Wow. Nice. I like it. And then we got another one here. That one didn't come out. Let's try this one. Boom. There we go. I'll make that bigger. So we got Big Rock Dude and other dude, Viking dude, and I'm not sure. I've seen that somewhere. I have seen that somewhere. I can't remember. What is that? That looks so familiar. I have seen that somewhere. The big dude, and I don't know, you gotta let me know, but that looks good. Look at the details on that. Nice. Got the little doggy in there. Gotta love the doggy. So that turned out good. And then, now we get to the female Wolverine. Holy crow. Oh, that's not popping in. Let's try it again. Nope, it's not working. Let's try the other one. Can we do it with this one? There we go. Nice. Just do a little cropping. Get that a little bit bigger. Let's kind of zoom in on that. Nice. Good job. Great job on that. Looks good. And then one more. Oh, maybe not. Nope, that other one's not popping in for some reason. Oh well, but man, yeah, some good stuff there. Gotta love that stuff. Love the 3D printing. Love the fact that you can be creative, and hell, if you're even better, you know, you can make your own models and everything, and that's just kind of amazing. Okay, dun. Let's get back to some questions and comments. Paint Minis Live says those are great answers. Learned a thing or two from them. My whole channel is painting live only so that everyone can see how long a project is going to take. Mistakes and all. Not every paint up is perfect. That's true. I've kind of done that on some of my videos as well. Paint Mini says, subbed to Swedish Forge. Awesome. Support. And Swedish Forge says, yes, love it, and going to paint them soon. Obelisk. That's it. That was it. Yeah. And he's got the question, are you from the U.S.? Yes, I am. I'm from the United States, but I retired here in Korea, and yeah, so I needed something to do. Retired a little early and go to the gym, and yeah, ended up doing all this stuff. So keeps me out of trouble, but yeah. Good stuff, good stuff. Ferretus pops back in and says, hey, still streaming? Yeah, a little bit. We're just kind of finishing up. You know, we come up on just over 3 hours, and then we had some pictures by Swedish Forge. If you look in the comments, he's got a YouTube page, and I know he would appreciate this like and subscribe on his stuff. He does some 3D printing stuff, and we just looked at some pictures of that. So check out his YouTube page. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, nice job on those prints. Ferretus has done some good stuff as well. So he's got some. He's Professor Ferretus. he's the one that clued me in on the, you know, the super glue in water, and that's basically activator, and it worked. We actually tested that out at the beginning of this stream. Yeah, I'll always throw. You know, it's kind of weird. I know some people are like, oh, you know, they would never, they don't let people advertise or say, hey, check out the channel that I started or whatever. And I really couldn't understand that. You can just get more exposure for everybody. I think that's a good thing. So, and I don't know why people don't do that more. Like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Do more of that. You know, help a buddy out, you know. Hey, we've got an Adventive, says Happy New Year, Steve. Yes, it is a Happy New Year. We actually finished painting up some minis that we FDM printed, so we did that. So what a way to bring in the new year. And then we ended up doing our paint stack, as you can see there. We actually, let me throw some love out to you all. If we take a look at this, now I've got some models on here that this is Creality Cloud. This is my Creality Cloud site. I still think Printables is better and Maker World is better. So there's that. But this is my Creality Cloud page, and with that we've got some models in here. And I just finished up this Just Art dual tip acrylic 60 pen holder. So that's available. So we printed that out, and I changed some of the connectors to snap connectors, and we looked at that, and boom, those things came out great. Rotating paint rack, some stuff. There's that cosplay mesh for the helmets. Let's take a look at that. So it's actually some mesh, and you can print it whatever color. You can see through it, but it's hard to see in, and it's great to put on visors and stuff like that. So all of this stuff is free, by the way. And it's just stuff I made off of Tinkercad, you know, some other little stuff like that. I think Ferretus even did the Creality RFID spool holders. He remixed some of that and put some latches on there to make it even better. Paintbrush holders, airbrush stands, stuff like that. Yeah, just little stuff I do in Tinkercad. Eventually I need to graduate to, you know, something a little bit better. But this one turned out really good. The reason I like this one is that not only does it hold all the pens, it printed with no supports. See, it holds all the pens. Told you. But we were able to print it out by using this teardrop style, which was awesome. So yeah, ends up, boom, no supports, and we're able to print it out, put it together, and yeah, it holds the pens in the way they should be held. So there's that. That's if you get these Just Art dual tip pens. So yeah, there it is. That's what we got going on. So yeah, feel free to, all that stuff is free. Let's see. I'll download your stuff. It looks nice. It's okay. It's Tinkercad, you know, so your mileage may vary, and it depends on how good Tinkercad is and all that stuff. But I figure if I can make something and somebody downloads one and it helps them, it's a win-win. So, and again, I'm retired. Doing this stuff keeps me out of trouble. And my wife appreciates that. So, yeah. So that's what we got on with that. So 2026 should be a good year. Again, looking at getting another 3D printer. Kind of leaning towards the Prusa Core 1L because that's nice. But then also the Bondtech Index system, the coil induction heating, that seems really cool. So I'm going to take a look at getting that this year. Cosplay armor, going to try to do that. Life-size print, maybe try to do that. It depends if form fitter comes out. And then, yeah, we'll just continue on printing and painting and doing some stuff and just having fun and sharing that with you all and then learning stuff that you helped me learn. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, that's going to be it. I think we're going to close this out. If you haven't liked and subscribed, if you haven't liked this video, go ahead and smash the like button. I would really appreciate that. That would be good. And then if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that as well. Help a brother out and help out Swedish Forge as well. Go to his page. His link is in the description. And support his YouTube page as well. He's just starting out. And yeah, show some love. Show some love to the brother, and we can end up doing that. And if anybody else has a YouTube page, feel free. You know, I can post it on here. You guys can't post it, but post it on there, and yeah, we'll get some exposure for you. Swedish Forge says, "Old like me, then 53." Hee hee hee. I'm 59. I'm gonna be 60 this year in 2026. That's the crazy part. Ferrithus says, enjoy your day, Steve. Good seeing you. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. And Swedish Forge says, face red heart shape. Aw, so kind of you. And everybody else who's watching, Happy New Year. Again, that's kind of the theme that we're going with is have a Happy New Year. Paint Minis Live. Hey, Paint Minis Live. Do you have a YouTube page? Let me know. Because if you have a page, we could throw that up there on as well. You said you had a YouTube page. Let me see. Paint Minis Live. Let's see if we can get to... Is there such a thing? Yes! Here he is. Ah. Okay. So let's take a look at his page. We got to take a look at his page. So here it is. Paint Minis Live. Paint Minis Live. Professional Miniature Painting. Whoa, look at that. We got some pros in the house. So he does live painting. Nice, nice. Nice. Baldur's Gate miniatures. Oh, he's even got shorts. Boy, he knows what he's doing. Cool. We paint him live. That is nice. So let's throw his channel up there in the comments section so you all can subscribe and like his stuff there. And let's see, he's got live videos, all that stuff. Yeah. Cool, cool. Nice. Painting miniatures. Good stuff. Always good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Cool. Yeah, throw him some love, everybody. Throw him some love. Again, starting out on YouTube, especially for old farts like us, you know, we're kind of crotchety. We don't know all this high-speed technology shit. And back in my day, we had the Pony Express, and I don't know what the cell phone is. Where's the start button? You know, what's an icon? My mouse is stuck. I don't know where it's at on the screen. Yeah, I try to keep up with that stuff. So, but that's what I like with 3D printing. The resin printing, all this stuff is kind of technical, and for older people and younger people as well, I think what's really good about that is it keeps your mind active and you keep learning, and that's important as you get older. So not only is exercise important, weight training, cardio, and all that, you have to keep your mind occupied, have to learn, have to continue learning. And that's what I like about 3D printing, miniature painting, and all that stuff. There's just so much to learn. And so much to share, and yeah, it gives me something to do. And I get to hang around all you good people. So anyway, with that, we're going to go ahead and close this out. For those of you, if you want to contact me, my email is in the contents or in the comment section down below, but it's also right here. So yeah, official thevariedlife@gmail.com. Send me an email. Whether you just want to say hi, show me stuff that you've done, tips and tricks to make me a better painter, hobbyist, whatever person. I'm always trying to be a better person. You can do that. People over here bought me coffee. If you want to do that, that's fine. If not, but I would 100% rather that you like the video and subscribe to my channel. That would mean the most to me. So throw a brother some love. Yeah, that'll be the last time I say that because it doesn't sound right. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Hopefully everybody will have a great new year. Pick up a hobby, do some stuff, learn some things that you've never done before, make yourself a better person, and hang around other good people, and your year will be better than last. I can pretty much guarantee it. Okay, anyway, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next video, which might be tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I'm retired, so I should have time, but I'm pretty busy. So we'll see you there. Painted Minis Live says you found it. Thanks for the shout out. Of course, you're welcome. Anything. Spread the love. Spread the love. All right. We'll see you all in the next video. Take care and peace. Keep painting. Keep painting, printing, and painting.